Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. Now, we all know that Shannon Sharpe is one of the biggest LeBron James supporters out there, right? If you think of the list, there are a few, but I think it's either him or Nick Wright that are the two biggest LeBron James supporters on TV. I think he's been a fan of his ever since he got to Cleveland. I think he's followed him for his entire career when he was with when he first started his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and also then when he went to join the Miami Heat, and then when he came back to the Cavs, he came on TV on the Undisputed started in 2016. So by that time, LeBron James was playing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I remember he was supporting him then. And now LeBron James is playing with the Lakers, and he's still supporting him. I think he obviously views LeBron as the greatest player of all time, but he believes that LeBron James is one of these players in sports that can overcome any situation, right? There's one of these guys. He's just one of these guys that you don't bet against. If you think of players like Tom Brady, or you don't want to bet against Michael Jordan, I think Shannon Sharpe views LeBron James in that same wavelength with those guys, right? He's like he'll never bet against LeBron, and he feels as if LeBron can overcome any situation or almost any situation that he finds himself in. But for the very first time, Shannon Sharpe seems to believe that there's one particular hurdle that LeBron James himself cannot overcome. And what's that hurdle? That hurdle is Russell Westbrook. Right? Russell Westbrook is that hurdle. For the longest time, Westbrook has always been viewed by fans and the media, as a guy that always gives 110%. It's something that a lot of former NBA players really like about him. If you listen to guys like Kenyon Martin, maybe Steven Jackson, other guys who've always talked about Russell Westbrook, they really admired how much effort he played with when he's playing on the basketball court. And also another thing that I think a lot of people marveled at when they were talking about Russell Westbrook is the fact that he's been able to average all of these triple doubles. If you think about it, Russell Westbrook has averaged, I think, a triple double four out of the last 5 seasons, and I believe it is the primary reason that he made the top 75 team. I think if Westbrook doesn't average those triple doubles for as many times that he's done over his career, I don't think he makes it in that top 75 list. But because he's done that, and you think of him and players like Oscar Robertson. And now I think he holds the all-time record for the most triple doubles. There's no way he's not going to make a list like that. So that was Russell Westbrook's kind of reputation before he got to the Lakers. But ever since he's joined the Lakers, we're quickly beginning to understand that, all of those triple doubles may have ended up being a bunch of empty stats, right? Because for the very first time, Russell Westbrook's game is under a microscope. I've said this in some previous videos, and I'm going to say it again. When you're playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, you're playing on one of the top 3 biggest stages in the entire NBA. You have the Lakers, you have the Boston Celtics, and then you have the New York Knicks, and then probably the Golden State Warriors. These are huge markets with huge fan bases. And when you're playing for the Lakers, the media, I'm talking about corporate media now, is always going to be following you, right? And they're going to scrutinize every single thing that you do. That's the case. That's the way it's always been. Right, that's the way it's always been. But now that Westbrook is playing for him, for the Lakers, I think Shannon Sharpe is finally beginning to see. I think he's had enough of Westbrook. I think he's seen enough. And yet again, last night the Lakers dropped another game, and now they fall to 17-19. That's their current record. And I think last night during the game, as I woke up this morning, I was seeing some of the tweets that Shannon Sharpe had about Russell Westbrook, and he was totally going on. I mean, it was crazy. Now, I'm on Twitter, but I don't follow Twitter. I'm not on Twitter when games are happening. So usually when I check Twitter just to see what's happening in the news when I wake up in the morning, all of that, I don't really tweet or anything like that. But I was able to stumble upon some of his tweets during the game last night. And, I was quite surprised at some of the things that he was saying, because he was really going off. So I just want to read some of his tweets that he had yesterday. For example, someone tweeted, some guy named Alex, he said, one had 8 threes, the other missed like 8 layups. Shannon Sharpe responded to that guy, exactly. Then there's another one he wrote, this ish I'm talking about with Russ. Air ball on one end and gives up a 3 to Ja on the other. He is playing hard though, with the emojis. Then another one, I've seen enough. This is utterly embarrassing play from Russ. And then he said another one, just watch the entire game, GM, the entire game, right? And during that game, it seemed as if it truly seemed as if Shannon Sharpe I think he'd had enough with this guy. I think he's really, really, really had enough with Russell Westbrook. I think he just cannot take any more. I think he is totally disgusted with this guy. And think about this. Shannon Sharpe has 1.5 million followers on Twitter. 1.5 million followers. So when he sends out a tweet, it's not like as if 10 or 20 or 25 people are the ones that are seeing it. You're talking about a tweet that's being seen by thousands of people, being retweeted, and there's a chance that probably Russell Westbrook or somebody in his inner circle will probably get wind of some of these tweets. And I just think that Shannon Sharpe does not care anymore because he is totally fed up with this guy. And to be honest, he has every right to be. Right? He has every right to be. LeBron has been doing everything humanly possible to keep this team competitive, right? I think just last night, again, he scored 37 points. I think he hit 6 out of 8 threes, if I'm not mistaken. But if you look at Russell Westbrook, he just doesn't seem to fit what this team is trying to do. And the guy just seems to have zero self-awareness about his game. Zero self-awareness. And sometimes when he talks about his game in his press conferences, he sounds like a total airhead. I'm sorry to say, but that's exactly what he sounds. If you listen to Russell Westbrook kind of self-analyze himself, and it's like everybody's talking about one thing and he's talking about something else. He just seems to be in his own world, and you can tell that that's the same type of line of thinking he takes to the basketball court. Sometimes he's making turnovers, making these plays, and you're like, what is going on? What is this guy what is he doing? And to me, I think he is just one of these guys that you can't win with. And it's unfortunate that he'll be doing all of this and you still have to pay him $40 million. I think a lot of people are losing. In fact, and that obviously is a contract that he signed before, but you're paying a guy $40 million to basically go in there and just stink up the joint. Basically, and to be fair to Shannon Sharpe, he's also expressed some of his displeasure with LeBron James, saying that LeBron is one of the people you need to blame because he's the one that vouched for Westbrook to bring him to LA. But at the same time, on a game-to-game basis, you're not thinking about the fact that LeBron James was the one that helped bring Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. You're thinking, okay, we have him now. What are y'all going to do? And when you watch him game in and game out, and the guy just up there doing just crazy stuff on the court, there's no surprise that Shannon Sharpe will be going off on him. To me, listen, I think there are only two options that they have here, or really three. One, you have to trade Russell Westbrook away. And somebody said, who would be stupid enough to trade? Well, when I was trading for Damian Lillard, somebody said, who would be stupid enough? Why would the Blazers be stupid enough to trade Damian Lillard for Russell Westbrook? You know the reason they'll be stupid enough? They'll be stupid enough. They'll be just as stupid as the way the Lakers were stupid enough to sign him, right? There are dummies out there. There's always a dummy. If you think the Blazers would be too stupid to get Westbrook, then how is it possible that a team like the Lakers was stupid enough to get him? Right? Anything can happen in this NBA. We've seen it. The fact that Russell Westbrook is on the Lakers proves to you that teams do stupid things. So that's the first thing. But as far as if we're looking at solutions and ways to move forward, number one, I think you either trade him. Something I've been saying all season long. All season long, I've been saying they need to trade Russell Westbrook. I've been saying this all season long. We're putting up polls. People have been telling me, no, it's not Westbrook, blah, 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 blah. All of this nonsense. Right? You didn't need a crystal ball to see this coming. You could just look at Russell Westbrook, look at his play, look at his history, and understand that this thing wasn't going to work. He doesn't provide any space. I'm not a basketball savant. I haven't been following covering the NBA, covering the NBA for the last 20 years or 15 years, like some of these basketball experts do. But I don't understand how everyone somehow seems to miss that. So number one, either you trade him away. Number two, if you can't trade him away, you move him to the bench. You got to put him on the bench. You got to put him on the bench, and he has to come off the bench and play with that second unit. If he cannot come off the bench with the second unit, then number three, I think you just have to live with what he gives you on the court. Live with what he gives you on the court, and that means you're going to be living with a lot of dumb, stupid basketball plays. Like if you want to see some of the dumbest basketball plays, watch some Russell Westbrook lowlights, and you'd be like, wow. It's one of the reasons Magic Johnson said, I think when the Oklahoma City Thunder went to the NBA championship the first time, he said, this is probably the worst play from a point guard I've ever seen. That's what Magic Johnson said about Russell Westbrook. That's what he said, and that's who the Lakers have on their hands. So to me, listen, I think he must be traded. Personally, if it was me, trade him. To hell with what LeBron thinks, trade him. Trade him. We've seen enough. It's going on 40 games. What else are you waiting to see? What else are we waiting to see? So these are my thoughts and opinions. So what I want to know from you guys, what do you think about some of the tweets that Shannon Sharpe had? What do you think about some of the comments I made? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.